So I decided to do a little Q&A here. We just recently hit 200,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm very excited about that. And we're also going to hit 100 million YouTube views very shortly. I think we're at 95 or 96 million right now, and we get about 230,000 or so views a day. So that'll happen shortly, too. This is like a double celebration here. I actually think I'm more excited for the 100 million views because you're adding another digit. That's a big jump. We like more digits. So very excited about that, and thanks to everybody who's watching and enjoying the show and sharing it and stuff. Obviously, wouldn't be where I am, and we wouldn't be where we are without you. Also, obviously, thanks to Lilith Penn, who does a whole bunch of stuff for the show, and she does it basically for nothing. And TYT also. TYT, I joined up with them. I don't know how many subscribers I had. It wasn't that many, maybe a few thousand when I joined up with them. They promoted my stuff. They helped me out with resources, and then we blossomed. So it's good that we've expanded as much as we have. As I said, I'm super excited about it, and now I want to answer some questions from you guys. So I'll get as many as I can in here. I'll split it up into different segments and stuff. We'll answer a few questions per segment. First of all, Gear Mason, I hope I'm not butchering the very first name that I'm mentioning here, although in all likelihood I am. He says, who is the most threatening evangelical right-wing Taliban extremist personality out there? I like the phrasing. Is it O'Reilly, Beck, the InfoWars guys, or who does the most to hinder growth? All right, so that's a great question, and I think there's a couple different ways to answer that. On substance alone, so who has the worst, dumbest substance? You gotta go with Michael Savage. He's a radio host who has roughly negative 12 listeners, and he's a crazy person. He said that, you know, kids are faking autism. He said that we should just nuke random Middle Eastern countries and kill a few million Muslims just for the fuck of it. He's just out of his fucking mind. He's out of his fucking mind. He was given a show on MSNBC back when they were conservative, and he screamed at somebody to get AIDS and die. I think it was a gay caller who called him out on something. He said, get AIDS and die, or something to that effect. So on substance alone, he's the worst. But in terms of objectively who causes the most damage, believe it or not, it actually might be O'Reilly. And I say believe it or not because he's the smartest of the dumbest. Like, he's the most intellectually capable of all the different right-wing commentators. I obviously disagree with all of them, but they're different shades of shitty and bad and wrong. O'Reilly is the least bad and the least wrong. Once in a blue moon, he makes sense. But he has a wider reach. Now, granted, you know, he's only talking to people over the age of 60. I mean, the average age of his audience is really like 69 or 70 or thereabouts. So how much effect will that have in the long run? Probably not that much, but he's still number one in cable news. I hate using news to describe his show, but he's number one. So that has an effect. And I think people in Washington take guys like him more seriously than they should, and that affects, you know, policy and stuff like that. So I'd say he's the worst because he reaches more people. And in terms of substance, it's got to be Savage who's the worst. And right up there, obviously, is Limbaugh. Limbaugh's probably right behind Savage, because I don't think he's been right in the decades he's been on the radio. I'm not sure I've ever heard him be right about anything. He's just a moron, and he's ignorant on politics, but he talks about politics every day. I don't even know how that's possible. I swear, these guys read like a headline and 2 sentences in a shitty article from Drudge or WorldNet Daily, and they go, I got it. And then they just go out there and blame Obama for everything, and blame the Democrats. Oh, man, yeah, you guys are really intelligent, aren't you? All right, Stephanie Morales says, have you ever been arrested? Great question. No, I haven't been arrested, but I've been brought in for questioning. Me and friends of mine, at times we were rambunctious youths, and there was something that went down at a party that we were at where stuff was stolen, and all of the guys who were there more or less knew each other to one extent or another, and the cops called me in. Did I know what the fuck I was doing? Was I directly related to anything that happened? No. I knew everybody there, but I wasn't involved with directly with what happened. So I had to answer some questions from the cops. They did play good cop, bad cop with me, which is fucking interesting to watch. But I've never been arrested. I have had many speeding tickets, though. That doesn't make me a badass, though. I don't think my street cred goes up with that. All right, Stephanie Morales also asked, what's your favorite TV shows? That's a hard question to answer. I don't really have time to watch different TV shows. I wish I did. Like, I really want to, watch all of Breaking Bad, bulk watch that, binge watch that at one time. I want to watch all of The Wire. I want to watch all The Sopranos. I haven't seen really any of those in full, and I know how awesome everybody says they are. The only thing I'm watching religiously now is probably The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, and I almost regret that I did it, because I'm so sucked into the show that I feel like I can't miss an episode, and sometimes I want to miss an episode, but I can't. Those are the only ones I watch religiously, and other than that, I'm old school, man. I'm a 1990s, early 2000s kind of guy. I loved, for example, when it was on TV, King of Queens. I loved that kind of era, and back in the day when I was a kid, get the fuck out of here. TGIF, son? Family Matters? Family Matters was awesome, Full House was awesome, and still to this day, my favorite show of all time, because I'm still like a 12-year-old at heart, Kenan and Kel. I'm still heartbroken that Kenan and Kel aren't, together, both on SNL or doing another version of Kenan and Kel. Best show ever made. Ty Jeffrey says, are you considering forming your own news network? No, not at all. Sam Levin says, how tall are you? I've never seen you stand up. I'm about 6 feet tall. And I'm not the bullshit 6 feet tall where people say I'm 6 feet tall and they're really 2 or 3 inches shorter. No, I'm actually 6 feet tall. Daniel Lopez says, would you play golf with Trump? Answer, fuck no. But I do have an interesting story about Trump and golf. He's got many golf courses, and they're private golf courses. So, members of the public can't just go and play. You have to be a member or know somebody who's kind of involved with it. I've played many of his golf courses. In fact, so when my dad and my mom split up and then got a divorce, after that, my dad was dating somebody who ran a pro shop, which is a golf shop, at one of Trump's private golf courses. And so she got us on there, me and him on there, multiple times. So as much as I hate Donald Trump, I've played some of his private courses, and now he has a new public one. I've never played it. I really don't plan on playing it because I really dislike the guy, and I really think he's a bad dude, and I wouldn't play with him because he's a scumbag.